this is Augie, Augie's Locker Room. When you come to the store, you're going to see things that you've probably never seen before unless you've been to a museum. Great items that go back to the Rockney era to the present. Website, augieslockerroom.com. Visit us here or the website.
Notre Dame's defense had the benefit of not facing Virginia quarterback Brennan Armstrong, and they took advantage of it, winning 28-3 at Scott Stadium. It wasn't really wire-to-wire quality offense for the Irish, but it really, Tim, at really no point did we think after the first score that Virginia was going to mount much of a challenge to the Irish today.
No, and once again, and this has been the case all year, Notre Dame leaves points on the field that clearly, the fumble at the 5-yard line, the fumbled exchange would have made it 35, and Notre Dame should have been in the 40s tonight. I mean, the yardage at 423 reflects it should have been more than 28 points, but the defense did the job against an inexperienced quarterback, took advantage of Brennan Armstrong not being in there. That compromised all the weapons that they have in the passing game, the receiving game, and that was certainly flashed at times, but just not enough. Notre Dame couldn't really rush the passer without the benefit of bringing some guys from the second and third level. When they did that, they ended up getting 8 sacks.
Yeah, Myron Tagovailoa-Amosa out with the flu, Drew White out with the flu. Brian Kelly said 13 players had it during the week. That includes Ramon Henderson, who we spoke to post-game. He joked and said he thinks he's the first one that had it, and that's why he was able to play today, making his first career start at safety with an interception and a couple of quality coverages deep downfield. So Notre Dame was kind of starting to manufacture something there on the back end without.
Yeah, I thought that's very creative on the part of Marcus Freeman in game 10 of the season. But Henderson looked pretty natural there now. And speaking with him after the game, I don't know how natural he felt because it's different than playing cornerback. And he got some instruction from DJ Brown prior to the interception, which helped. But I thought he did a nice job. I thought Xavier Watts came in and was very aggressive. So maybe they're finding some answers back there. You can't count on Kyle Hamilton coming back. Houston Griffith has just not ever come around in his career. So they have to look at other alternatives, and they did a pretty darn good job back there.
Bo Bauer, first career start, he made 3 or 4 big plays. He had a third down stop, a fourth down stop, a pass breakup. He started the game with the tackle for loss. Riley Mills got the game ball. Brian Kelly joked we had the brilliant idea of putting a defensive end, and he comes up with what they called 3 sacks. And I noted he might not move away from defensive end at this point after that effort. So they found something more defensively, and I think you and I have both been waiting for Riley Mills to have a game like that.
Yeah, and it's good to see that they need him moving not only for the rest of the year, but certainly moving into next year. Bo Bauer, I think we often wonder why he can't get on the field more frequently. And I realize playing behind Drew White presents problems for him in getting more playing time, but he had the opportunity tonight. He's very active. Maybe he's overly aggressive at times. Maybe that's what they don't like, that he might run himself out of plays, but that was more of an issue when he was younger. I think he played quality football once again tonight.
Well, it's a question for a month and a half from now, but it'd be interesting to see if Bo Bauer thinks about returning to Notre Dame and starting a middle linebacker next year after that performance. I'm sure he enjoyed. Kyron Williams, we didn't even ask about post-game because Kyron Williams is Kyron Williams, and every time he gets the ball, 3 people miss him. Then he starts going forward, then 4 more people miss him, and he gobbles up yardage, and everybody at Virginia's Scott Stadium wants to know why in the world they can't tackle that guy.
Yeah, well, nobody can on a weekly basis. And I thought, not only was he effective, certainly Logan Diggs was. And I think it's pretty clear at this point that Logan Diggs is a more productive running back than Chris Tyree as we move forward here. And Notre Dame needed to do a better job in the red zone. That was actually one of the areas where Virginia was pretty good defensively, and there are very few. They were 24th in the country in red zone touchdown percentage, and Notre Dame did an excellent job down in the red zone. I think Kyron Williams' 22-yard touchdown run doesn't constitute a red zone opportunity. They had the 4th and 1 early. When you run a quarterback sneak on 4th and 1 and it works, you don't think anything of it. When it doesn't, you consider all the alternatives that you had. But they rebounded real nicely from that. The 3 touchdowns in the first half, as you said, Tim, they were never really in jeopardy of losing this game at all.
And they somewhat played it out like that because with a minute 16 at their 15 and they gain a first down immediately, Brian Kelly would attack. I found that a little early, but I guess his point was if it's 21-0 at the half, there's no chance. If we somehow give a sack fumble, there is a chance. It's probably not the way to approach it, but I do understand what was the thought process.
Yeah, I do too. I think more troubling, and you know, we're like a lot of fans in reacting to the points being left on the field that late in the game. I don't know, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes. They leave Butner in there. I just thought it was a good opportunity to run your offense and do what you do, but they were using time. And it was clear that they were, you know, trying to slow play it so they didn't have to put any more points on the board. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. 28-3 is not reflective of how dominant Notre Dame was over Virginia tonight.
Couple more post-game notes. Brian Kelly said they did want to target Michael Mayer more. It worked out. 7 catches for, I believe, 84 yards in the touch. Some double teams. Jack Cohn went to him, called him a freak. Brian Kelly used the freak word. And he also singled out Braden Lenzy for being gritty. I think that touchdown dive by Lenzy is the highlight play. And Kelly said his favorite play was that he fought back for the ball in the pass interference, but you could tell Lenzy wanted that touchdown.
Yeah, and you know, when you see, you know, Lenzy's not a powerful runner, and when you see him put his head down and you figure he's going to have to try to plow through there, he's not going to make it. Well, he jumped over the group of players and got in the end zone, and it's very important for him to continue to establish that. And we've talked about whether he comes back next year or not. When he plays like that, there's certainly room for Braden Lenzy in the lineup for the offense.
Finally, Brian Kelly was asked about the playoffs. He said, yes, we do have a resume because they're playing better now than they were in September and October. That last part is definitely true. I'm not sure if they'll get the resume to get in. They'll need a little more chaos. I think they only got help from one team today, right? I'm not caught up on the rest of the day's events. But Kelly's starting to campaign. He's going to need some losses to get that campaign in motion. But they are playing better football than they were.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not going to benefit from beating either of the next two teams in Georgia Tech and Stanford, regardless what the score is. So you're right, Tim. It comes down to getting help. They're going to need a lot of help. Whether it happens or not, it really doesn't. I mean, it matters. You always want to try to get in the playoffs, but what matters is that they close out the regular season 11-1, and then go to the Peach Bowl or go to the Fiesta Bowl and hopefully draw a really quality opponent. Yeah, and get a win. I mean, you can't control any of the other stuff. It's not their fault that Georgia Tech and Stanford and Virginia Tech and Florida State and all these teams haven't been very good this year. All you can do is take care of your own business. And they're in a position now, Tim, where if they win out, including the bowl game, that's 55 wins in 5 years. That's an average of 11 per year. That'd be pretty darn good.
Yeah, well, they're guaranteed a little help. They need a lot, but I also guarantee we'll be back with more on this after we talk to Brian Kelly Monday on Irish Illustrated Insiders podcast. Final score from Scott Stadium, Notre Dame 28, Virginia 3.